And there we go, everyone. We are back again for another fantastic conversation on Friday Night Counter Attack. We are rocking, we are rolling, and we are here for another Manager's Greatest 11. And yes, it is our new season series, and we're looking forward to discussing and debating the greatest 11 of Jose Mourinho. Matthew, have you got your headphones with you today? Because this podcast is going to blow your mind. That's all I'm saying. It's going to blow your mind.
Man, got me scared for a second. I was like, no.
No, that's all good. Matthew, good to see you again. How are you doing?
I'm all good, man. Thanks for having me on. Listen, as I just said off camera quickly, I'm so excited about this one. Obviously, all of them excite me, but the depth of players that this guy's managed, incredible. So, really looking forward to this one. Thanks for having me on, man.
Absolutely fine. As someone who was like, you know what? We're going to talk about another Chelsea legend, Jose Mourinho. I mean, I needed someone who watches Chelsea, supports Chelsea, and appreciates Chelsea. And it isn't Matthew, of course. It's Luke. So, Luke, good to have you back on the podcast, my friend. This is going to be your forte, I would say. It's your forte. It's your former manager as well as my former manager. But this is where I think you'll be taking the lead in some of these players. Are you looking forward to the pressure?
Slightly, yes. Yeah, I mean, hopefully I've got a bit of knowledge, and obviously you guys will be there to support me and back me up or argue against me. So, yeah, bring it on.
Fantastic. But yeah, without going into the team just yet, we are going to talk a bit about the great man, Jose Mourinho. We're going to talk about some of his greatest moments in his managerial career. And we kind of have to talk about some of his greatest teams that he's managed, not the 11s that we'll get into, but we have to kind of talk about, well, first of all, we have to talk about his Porto team, the one that beat everyone to win the Champions League in 2004. 2004 was a great year for football. It was a great year for upsets. Porto won the Champions League. You had Greece becoming underdogs to winning Euro 2004, and underdogs Arsenal won the league in 2004 as well, with an unbeaten season as well. So, yeah, Matthew, can you remember the fact that you lost to Chelsea in 2004 in the Champions League, and Porto of all teams won the Champions League? Crazy times, right?
So if I'm correct, guys, is that the one where Wayne Bridge scored?
Yes.
Okay, can I just take again?
You've said it before on camera, so you can say it again by all means. I'll be drinking your rival tears.
Everyone talks about the Champions League final defeat. That one resonates with me so much because at that time I felt like no one could beat us. And I remember it was hybrid, the lights, it was an evening game, and I think Reyes scored for us, I think, if I'm correct. And then Lampard scored, wasn't it? Like it deflected and then Lampard tapped it in 1-1. And I thought, oh, come on, extra time, we're going to cook them. Wayne Bridge. And I just remember seeing a celebration from the Chelsea fans and Ranieri and the rest of them. That absolutely vexed me. I know Luke's there sitting there going, yeah, that was a lovely day for me. But no, I absolutely hate it. And for me, that's one of my top 3 Arsenal defeats of all time. I post it all the time. It really, really hurt. You can hear it. You can hear it in my heart.
Because on that same game week as well, Porto played against Manchester United, and that was one of my biggest heartbreaks as well. Oh. Seeing Costinha last-minute equaliser after bloody Tim Howard, couldn't parry a free kick away for a corner or out of play. He parried it by basically into play, and then a last-minute equaliser for Costinha meant Jose Mourinho had one of his most famous moments, still to this day, in football by running down the touchline to celebrate with his players at Old Trafford. And we're there thinking we have a young Cristiano Ronaldo. Paul's goal scored an offside goal that should have been allowed because the referee the linesman didn't know the offside rule clearly. And we've had Van Nistelrooy, we lost David Beckham this season before. We thought we were going to do pretty well, and it just wasn't the case. And Porto beat Monaco in the Champions League final in Gelsenkirchen, and that's how Jose Mourinho made his name. I mean, he won the UEFA Cup, the season before Porto. So he won the UEFA Cup, then he won the Champions League with Porto back to back, which was insane. And then he moved to Chelsea, and then we're going to get into that in a bit later on. But Luke,
quick one, Hamza. Yeah. Quick one on that, Hamza. Do you think, and for Luke, had Porto not have done that, because obviously that was such a significant moment for Mourinho, like the runners had done the touchline, what it meant for the Porto team. Do you think he would have kind of had the same following years had they not have won that game?
What do you mean, the club or the manager?
The club in general, the club.
because
Yeah,
he got rejected by Benfica. Remember as well, Jose Mourinho. He got rejected by Benfica.
that's
He couldn't
true.
manage with them. He had to become a translator for Sir Bobby Robson at Barcelona, of course,
Yeah.
working with Pep Guardiola and Luis Enrique, who were coming to the end of their careers as well. So they were looking to get into coaching as well. So it kind of goes to show that Jose Mourinho made Porto relevant on the world stage, just like when Marseille won the Champions League back in the early 90s. They're the only French team to win
Yeah.
a Champions League. PSG haven't done it, which is incredible to see. But yeah, Luke, why don't you entertain the audience with what it was like to be a young Chelsea fan, a young Luke Perks watching Jose Mourinho Chelsea winning the first Premier League title for you as well, and then the second Premier League title back to back.
Yeah, no, I think it was more just like a bit of a breath of fresh air, just for the not just for Chelsea, but for the league itself. You know, there wasn't many, I'd say, characters at that stage. You know, you obviously had your Fergie Wenger sort of rivalry that was sort of quite heated at that period of time. You know, um, obviously came back off that unbeaten season and then lost their run. Oh, that was later, wasn't it? I think, but it's still
Season
that era,
The
wasn't it?
unbeaten season was the season before Jose Mourinho came in.
Yeah, so yeah, I was on the right wavelength. But
Yeah.
that rivalry was sort of really intensified, and then in comes Jose Mourinho and off the bat with his first press conference. Claiming
What did he say? What did he say, Luke?
he's chosen one and he's going to win the league, and
It was a special one.
so yeah, I think it just created a new sort of sense of what Chelsea was at that point, and now I think in some ways you could probably argue that he paved a lot of success going forward under that new regime under Abramovich.
Exactly. He then was there for a couple of seasons, won multiple trophies, including two Premier League titles, and then he came back after a few years when he came back in 2013 when he left Real Madrid, and then he won the league again, which was incredible to see. But a new dynamic of what he had in a new era of the Premier League as well. What were the main differences you noticed from young Jose Mourinho, the young, brash, arrogant, confident Jose Mourinho, to the older, wiser, more seasoned Jose Mourinho that you saw from the second time when he came in with the likes of an older John Terry, an older Ashley Cole? You had the likes of Ramirez, Diego Costa there as well. What did you notice in terms of the differences, Luke, from young Mourinho to old Jose Mourinho at Chelsea?
I still think he had his arrogance, which I think he'll always have with him, even to this day. I think he still carries that, but I think it's that sort of charisma he carries with himself as well, and sort of almost that adaptability on style. The players were completely different, as you just highlighted. Then from his first stint to a second stint, older, more experienced players with a new crop of players that came in. Even the players he signed in that first or second season in 2014. The likes of Costa, Fabregas.
Felipe Luis, baller.
All those sorts of players coming in. So yeah, it created a different sort of dynamic. But I think he still carried a lot of the same mannerisms with himself in sort of trying to build and win success, which was notable in pretty much everywhere he went. I think, to be honest, so not just at Chelsea, but across all the clubs that he's managed now.
Absolutely. And Matthew, before we get into the combined dream team of Jose Mourinho, talk to me what it was like being an Arsenal fan at the time, because I'll happily go through what it's like being a Manchester United fan watching Jose Mourinho, as I have already after losing to his Porto team. Being a London rival, seeing Arsenal, who were at the top of the table, then slowly, gradually go down in terms of the pecking order because of the rise of Chelsea Football Club. Big thanks to Jose Mourinho for that. How was that like for you?
It was quite frustrating because I was used to going to school and just bragging about my team being the best in the league.
I bet you still do that at work as well. Oh, so sick. Calafiori's coming in soon.
Nah, you know what? But like Luke said, I'm honest, like, it was a breath of fresh air. In general, you'd never want to see leagues two-horse race where you want to see 4 or 5 teams, compete. And then you can see you riled up a lot of the managers, and a lot of the managers were so annoyed that someone else has come in with such arrogance. And it's different being arrogant and not backing up with what you did on the pitch. But
the confidence he had in his teams.
This is it. And listen, he built an absolute machine of a team. I liked playing them in a sense of, and you use them as like a gauge to see where you are at. And some of the games that we had, especially at our home stadium, they used to deal with us at their place. We won't get into that, Luke. But at our place, we tend to have some great games. One of my favourites being, I think, was it 2-2? When was it 2-2 when Henry volleyed it, when just before he was told he wasn't a big game player, and I think he scored like a volley and a free kick. But yeah, like listen, they were great games, and Chelsea have gone on to obviously do well. Not so well now, but yeah.
Maybe bring Jose back for a third term after his time at Fenerbahce. That would be incredible. Nah, but you did mention about Jose Mourinho's home advantage as well. But we have to read out the main stat that Jose Mourinho once went 9 straight years without losing a single game at home from 2002 to 2011. Those include Porto, Chelsea, Inter Milan, Real Madrid. 107 teams faced them at home, and they never beat him in the 150 matches, which is incredible. And that kind of goes to show the confidence, the character, and the charisma of an incredible manager like Jose Mourinho. And it goes to show the talent that he really had as a manager. But one other stat we have to get into was his time at Real Madrid as well, because that's when he kind of got rid of the notion of always being such a defensive, counter-attacking team. Jose Mourinho at Real Madrid, he built a big foundation for them to become the gigantic Champions League serial winners that they are now. Because in his 3 seasons at Real Madrid, they scored 485 goals in 178 games. And the players that we'll be talking about under his tenure, we will be talking about later down the line. Whether they make the team or not, that's up to the 3 of us, but that's like a goal in every 33 minutes over 3 years. And he was competing against prime Barcelona with Pep Guardiola and prime, for me, Lionel Messi, Iniesta, Xavi. He made that turn. He made that tide turn from when he left as well. So it goes to show the incredible confidence, arrogance, and quality of the man as well. And Luke, why don't you just wrap it up with telling us a bit more about his style of play, telling us about what you may not have enjoyed as a fan, but what you appreciated as a fan from the way that he sets up his teams.
I think from sort of my sort of early experience of football growing up, I was probably 9 or 10 at that point. So, I was at age I didn't really understand sort of tactics and systems and
That's a
everything else.
lie. I bet you were playing career mode every other weekend, Luke, as well. You're like, yeah, I've got to play 4-4-2 in this.
FIFA 04 with Davids and stuff on the front, or 2003, I think it was.
You didn't have custom tactics, but you'd be playing defenders in midfield and be like, yeah, I've got to defend this lead. It's got to be done. I bet it worked well for you as well, Matthew.
Not so much, not so much.
Nah, that's okay. Carry on, Luke.
But no, you sort of as you get older, and as you guys know as well, you sort of understand a little bit more, especially with our degrees and everything else. But what I've sort of looked at and sort of researched recently, and sort of from what I remember anyway as well, is he sort of was, I think, one of the first managers I remember sort of adapting different styles and sort of changing in the game or changing every few matches. Historically it was a 4-4-2 diamond, or a Christmas tree. That was been historically as known as, and then it sort of shifted when Duff and Robin came back from injury to sort of generic sort of 4-3-3 with wider players. But he's changed from that to sort of a more modern 4-2-3-1, 4-4-1-1. But historically, counter attacking style, with strong defensive core. And then, as you highlighted as well, he's able to adapt to more attacking based, scoring shed loads of goals, and sort of having that sort of attacking creative flair with players that we will be mentioning later on. I think that I won't sort of disclose now because it'll ruin it for everyone else. But I think they'll know some names, and you guys will know some names as well that will bring us into some conversation shortly.
We'll do it right now. That's a great teaser into Jose Mourinho's greatest starting 11, which we will begin at momentarily. But Matthew's got a disclaimer, like we did on the previous one of Carlo Ancelotti. Matthew, it's your turn to tell the audience why we're picking these players.
So, why are we picking our 11?
Yes. Bring the ground rules. Bring the ground rules. You have to let them know.
Listen, so what we're doing, as we did it previously with Carlo Ancelotti, the greatest 11 that he's had played for him. Obviously, you guys may not agree, and we're probably going to struggle to agree, but we've got some great names coming. This has probably been one of the most difficult ones because, as we said off air, the depth of talent that this guy's had at his disposal, not even just talent, world-class talent at his disposal. So you're going to put it together, but we need to agree on a formation before we get into it. What's a formation? Because we struggled last time with that.
Oh, yeah. My goodness me.
Yeah.
I want to do a 4-4-2, mostly because of the 2 strikers that we need to put. We can't just have one centre forward with all the Jose Mourinho strikers, his coach as well. But it wouldn't be classic Jose Mourinho now, would it? It would have to be a 4-3-3 and maybe put a striker on a winger like he did with a certain Cameroonian striker in the Champions League final by playing him out of position. So 4-3-3, two defensive midfielders, one attacking midfielder, counter-attacking. We can't not go classic Jose Mourinho. Would you agree, Luke? What you got in
I'd
mind?
say if you go 4-3-3, I think we sort of have that midfield three as open to interpretation because it wasn't always a double pivot. Sometimes it was a single pivot he had. But I'm happy with that front three being a blend of out and out centre forwards or wingers, as long as we agree and it seems to make sense in terms of if they've played there. At
We're
least
not
one.
playing. We're not
Yeah, I
playing
agree.
Romelu Lukaku left wing. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Higuain can't be playing on the right wing. They have to have played there under Jose Mourinho. So yeah, I
That's
think
what in consideration. I don't think. I mean,
it's true. It's very, very true. Oh, without further ado, Jose Mourinho's greatest 11 back to front. So again, we have to agree on all the positions. We have to talk about some of his greatest moments with these players as well. And at the end of the day, we're going to have a start bench sell as well, which Matthew, I'm sure, has previewed very well in his mind as well. Probably practice it in the mirror, I would imagine, Matthew, given your skills. Goalkeepers, starting from the back to front. So I'm just going to, as we go through, I'll name a few suggestions and then we'll discuss who we should have as well, because they will start as honorable mentions. And like we said, it's not a draft like we did last season. It's more so we can figure out who the best goalkeeper was under Jose Mourinho. So we can't forget about Julio Cesar from Inter Milan. We can't forget about Rui Patricio at Roma. David De Gea at Manchester United, prime David De Gea. Thibaut Courtois in his youth at Chelsea. Iker Casillas, of course, at Real Madrid. Diego Lopez at Real Madrid. And, of course, Petr Cech. For me, there's only one right answer for me, and it's David De Gea. David De Gea has to be number one for me for what he did.
Stop trying to wind the people up, Hamza.
I'm not even winding them up.
Hamza.
David De Gea under Jose Mourinho was a machine. He was the best player. He was the best player under Jose Mourinho.
Hamza, stop it. No.
I'm being serious. I'm being dead serious as well. Unbelievable goalkeeper. It saved us
Luke,
10,
cut him
15
out,
points a
please.
season.
I think we should finish recording. Me and Matt can carry.
Yeah, trust me.
Like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Goodbye. But seriously, okay, it may not be David De Gea, but we can't not talk about David De Gea. I think we all know it's going to be Petr Cech, right? I know we want to talk about Casillas, we want to talk about Julio Cesar, but are we agreeing it's Cech? We're agreeing it's
100%.
That's fine with me. Before we talk about Petr Cech, we have to talk about David De Gea at Manchester United during that time, because we had gone from manager to manager to manager. Jose Mourinho had come into the side, and we were looking for someone to kind of be the shining light under Jose Mourinho in this new era as well. But for me, David De Gea was beyond a superstar. He won multiple trophies under Jose Mourinho, and it goes to show that David De Gea was a world-class goalkeeper. He was a world-class goalkeeper at the time with incredible shot-stopping ability. He was under Jose Mourinho was the manager when he had those 15 shots saved at the Emirates when we won 3-1 against Arsenal as well. And I think Paul Pogba got sent off. But it kind of goes to show David De Gea, as a famous Arsenal fan once said, could save the bloody Titanic. And he did. He saved so much against Arsenal that evening, and he has been a revelation as a goalkeeper, one of the greatest goalkeepers we've ever seen in the Premier League, dare I might say, as well. And Jose Mourinho definitely got the best out of him by hiring a new goalkeeper coach and working with him to increase his authority in the air and bulking up a bit more as well. Let's hear your thoughts on David De Gea, Matthew.
No, I agree with you. I feel like, when David De Gea first this was just before Mourinho, he come as like a real skinny kind of boy. Because at the time, Man United were linked with Neuer and him. And the decision was to be made between the two. And I remember you played Schalke away. And do you remember there was the whole talk?
Manuel Neuer winked at Sir Alex Ferguson as well. So it was just like,
yeah, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So I thought, it's Neuer. I was getting so vexed. I was like, oh no, please, not Neuer to United. But listen, he struggled at the start. All the crosses coming in is really struggling to come out and claim it. But as you said, under Jose, they got a lot better. That performance at the Emirates is probably, along with probably Rob Green, which is a random one, Rob Green at the Emirates when they beat us 1-0, one of the best goalkeeper performances I've ever seen. Like the saves he was making,
the reflexes, unbelievable.
Yeah, sometimes they're straight at them, but these were shots that were bottom corner. And there was one, I think it was someone, and then Alexis thought he could tap it in. He just stuck out the leg. And he was very good at blocking with his leg as well. But I think as he went on, he started trying it too much, and it didn't work out as much. But honestly, one of the better goalkeepers for sure. Top 3, no, of all time in the Prem. Top 10, I'll put him there.
I was going to say top 5. Happily top 5 for me.
I don't know about that, man.
Another conversation for another day. That's
another
what I'd say.
day.
Another day. But yeah, David De Gea played 113 times under Jose Mourinho in 3 different seasons. The one factor that didn't really work in his favor was he wasn't the starting goalkeeper for the Europa League final. We had Sergio Romero, who was our backup keeper for the Europa League, and he played every game. And he was loyal to Sergio Romero, who kept us a clean sheet against Ajax and Andre Onana, of course, as well, which is incredible to see. So David De Gea doesn't make our starting 11 because I think unanimously it can't not be Petr Cech. Luke, the floor is yours. Why is Petr Cech one of the greatest goalkeepers or the greatest goalkeeper to play under Jose Mourinho?
Well, he almost came into the league largely unknown. You know, I think looking back, came into
his first full season, right, replacing Carlo Cudicini.
Yeah, you know, I think 12 million. I think
Ren,
which, you know, looking back now, that's sort of, you know, a fraction of what he would have cost in the modern day. But I'd like to sort of share some records that Chelsea set in that illustrious 045 season. That
Go for it.
Part of it. So, you know, 95 points, most points in a league season, 15 away wins, 25 clean sheets, 29 wins. And this is the real impressive one that comes with it, and even to this day still stands now with a clean sheet record: 15 goals conceded across all 38 games.
That's just insane. That's just
unbelievable.
So, you know,
shout out William Gallas. That's all I'm going to say. Shout out William Gallas.
Yeah, no, well, his name will come up again at some point later on. Don't you worry about that.
Absolutely.
But, you know, we spoke about earlier on, you know, about that defensive core that, you know, Chelsea were utilising that underpinned their success. And I think, you know, Cech was a key part of that, you know, not just only in that season, but in the seasons sort of beyond for Chelsea. You know, that keeper in the back four, just sort of, you know, immaculate, really.
Yeah, it was outstanding. He was reliable, and he was someone where when he's not on the team sheet, the other teams are, oh, we've got half a chance of actually scoring against Chelsea because Petr Cech isn't in there as well. And the fact that he came off the back of a very impressive Euro 2004 as well. Matthew, we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago when Czech Republic got to the semi-finals of Euro 2004 as well. Petr Cech was a big part of that. And it goes to show that the talent ID from Jose Mourinho and his team at the time were like, yeah, let's get the right goalkeeper in. And Petr Cech, without a doubt, is one of the right goalkeepers that the Premier League has ever seen. Top 3, I would definitely say. And I'm pretty sure Matthew can't disagree with that one as well.
Listen, I agree with everything Luke said. The records were mad. I think what I loved about Petr Cech, you come in and with the Premier League, you always see goalkeepers come in, and we've seen some horrible goalkeepers over the years.
The most loneliest position on the pitch.
Listen, now I've seen some. I don't know if Luke remember, they used to have one called Ambrosio who played,
Bosnich as well before that.
Yeah. You know, so
Bosnich never worked at Man United or Chelsea. He just got a career in media out of it now as well. It's crazy. Some Australian pundit. Wild.
And what I found mad about Petr Cech, he went on that run when he just didn't let. I think it was 8 games or a certain amount of hours without conceding. And I remember they played Blackburn away, and Blackburn got a penalty, and everyone thought, "This is it. Finally, they're going to concede." I think it was Paul Dickov. I think it was him. Kicked it, Cech saved it, and they were like, he still hasn't conceded. I think the person to score and break the record was Leon Moore from Villa, if you remember Leon Moore back in it. So it's very random, and someone shout out Cams, Coach Cams. He said something along the lines of, there was an article in the paper like who's going to be the first to score, and you know it's that deep where they're putting an article and say who's going to be the first to score past a goalkeeper. So yeah, great goalkeeper for me, second best in the Premier of all time.
Ooh, okay, nicely done. But it's definitely the best under Jose Mourinho. So welcome to the team, Petr Cech, goalkeeper for us as well. Right back, I've got 2 in mind, but let's read out a few names. We've got Paulo Ferreira for Porto, for Chelsea, respectively. We've got Cesar Azpilicueta. We've got Javier Zanetti and Maicon from Inter Milan. We've got Antonio Valencia from Manchester United. And we have, and I'm not going to mention the Spurs one. Forget the Spurs one. Let's carry on. Matthew, right back. Who's your first impressions?
So, I loved Paulo Ferreira. What I loved about him the most. He came over, didn't have pace, but his positional sense, he was always perfect with that. He was always in the right place, attacking, defending. But yeah, his lack of speed did catch him out a few times. Great. Maicon did his thing. Gareth Bale ruined him.
Remember, Gareth Bale ruined him when Jose Mourinho left, when Benitez was manager.
Yeah. So, but the one for me, I don't know about you guys, but I think you just got to go Javier Zanetti. Yeah. I think I have to go Zanetti. I feel like even reading what he's done, forget just Mourinho, what he's done as a whole, and I'm sure, did he go left back or centre mid to help
Centre
out?
mid.
Centre mid, wasn't it, to help out? So great
Yes.
player, ultimate professional, captain. So he's one of them players where it's like, listen, you do the team talk. You know what I mean? He was that big a deal. So yeah, I think it's just got to be him. He's got to go right back. I don't see anyone else.
For me, it was Maicon, but I'll happily agree with Javier Zanetti. But Maicon, remember, under Jose Mourinho, scored 12 goals and 19 assists in 93 games in the 2 seasons. And he was a big factor, especially in that semi-final against Barcelona at the new camp when they were down to 10 men. I think Thiago Motta got sent off for that.
Yeah.
Busquets being a bit of a bitch as he is. And then you've got Maicon just running the flanks down as well. And it was very similar to when Chelsea had John Terry sent off in the new camp as well in 2012. It was a very similar situation. Ramirez was the one doing the running in that team as well. So I thought Maicon definitely needed a shout out, but Javier Zanetti, I'm very happy to have him as our right back as well. Luke, do you agree?
I would agree with either Zanetti or Maicon, but if we're talking about what we spoke about off camera, even on the episode, Ancelotti was the individuals with under the success then of Mourinho.
Yes.
I saw an article that Zanetti played in midfield in that Champions League run-up. Maicon played right back. So are we basing off just where you play normally, or are we playing it off?
Nah, we'll go for where they played under the manager. Like, we're going to stay authentic to it as well. So by all means, it may have to be Maicon for this one.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be happy with either or. I mean,
exactly. Yeah.
We are modern day podcasters as well nowadays, so we can change formation and you can slot in midfield or right back, so it's fine.
We can be fluid with it as well, which is fantastic. But at right back, I think we're going to have to lock in Maicon, the Brazilian magician who started ahead of Dani Alves for that 2010 World Cup tournament. That wasn't very successful for Brazil once again. Centre backs, Matthew and Luke. You know what? I'm going to let you agree and disagree with this one. But for me, it's got to be Ricardo Carvalho and Sergio Ramos. I want to hear your thoughts. You've got...
I want Carvalho nailed in, I think.
Carvalho has to be in there.
Yeah.
Would you agree, Matthew?
Yeah.
I agree with that one. But there was another defender that was battling him for me. I think Lucio. Like we were talking about playing under Mourinho, Lucio, and it was a big part in that Champions League run as well. Because he locked that. Was it Drogba? They played in one of the rounds. I don't know if I might be wrong.
Yeah, the away leg at Stamford Bridge. Yes.
Look, listen, he was solid, and then at home as well. And that game at Barca, solid. Listen, Lucio don't get the respect, you know. Sorry, he's up.
Preach, talk about him, preach about him.
He was unbelievable, and I don't know about anyone else, but he was the first defender that I used to see that was quite strong physically and could run out with the ball. I think Rio would do it every now and then, but Lucio was an absolute beast at the back. From Leverkusen days, and he just kept taking it. And Inter Milan, solid. And because Mourinho
first choice for centre back for Brazil as well.
Mad. Like, honestly, Mourinho loved them type of defenders, and that Inter team was built around physical players that just knew their role. And I think it was a big part of that Mourinho team that won the Champions League. So that he was close to being shot. But yeah, Ricardo Carvalho, what he did, and the fact that he took him from Porto to Chelsea and then took him again when he moved on again. So shows the type of centre-back he was. But yeah, I can go with you on that. The other centre-back,
joined for only 5 million in his early 30s as well. So you're talking to a player who was in the prime of his career from Bayern Munich, I think it was as well. So
yes.
And if you look at that core of that Inter Milan team, a lot of them were sort of in that 28 to 30 bracket. So
Jose Mourinho said famously he loves just working with the older experienced players because he gets the best out of them for one more season. And for him to do that with that Inter Milan team as well, against Pep Guardiola's Barcelona, against Manchester United, who just lost Cristiano Ronaldo, against Chelsea at the time as well. You're just looking at all of these great teams across European football. Real Madrid, of course, he went on to manage them. And it was Inter Milan that won the Champions League that year. Bayern Munich losing 2-0 in the finals, or to Louis van Gaal's Bayern Munich. So ridiculous talent that he's got there. But we before locking in Lucio, we have to talk about Sergio Ramos. We do have to talk about John Terry. We do have to talk about Rafael Varane. And for me personally, a personal favourite of mine that he did very well with as well. No, I'm not going to talk about. I'm not going to do another one. But Chris Smalling, he's played very well with Chris Smalling at Roma and at Manchester United as well. But Luke, I'll let you talk about John Terry, and Matthew, I'll let you talk a bit more about Sergio Ramos as well. So Luke, fire away. John Terry, make your case for him.
Well, I think JT was his guy, wasn't it? You know, he
Yeah.
was. I mean, JT was already experienced anyway at that age, and he was almost that person who sort of bridged the gap between Mourinho and the players. You know, he sort of reciprocated all the messages that was sort of been passed out, and able to sort of really lead on the pitch when, you know, I'm sure Mourinho would like to be on the pitch as well, sort of dictating and sort of deciding what to do. You know, obviously Terry very, you know, sort of decorated in English football on the pitch, maybe not so much off it, but yeah, I think he underpinned all of Mourinho's values that he set, which is why Chelsea was so successful under Mourinho and then beyond, really. And obviously that the partnership that he had with Carvalho was second to none, and then that spine with Czech and goal. Yeah, I think you could argue those three could be sort of locked in together, but you obviously got to factor in for other players and sort of give mentions to other people. But yeah, I think Terry's definitely a very high end honourable mention if he's not in the 11, if not secured alongside Carvalho. But
Yeah, yet to be confirmed as well, because you've got Terry, you got Lucio, you got Varane, Pepe, Sergio Ramos. Matthew, if there's a player you want to make your case for as well before we nail in that partner for Ricardo Carvalho, who would you go for?
Do you know
Ramos?
what? I wouldn't put Ramos there. I've got someone else there, but I'm not sure about this person there.
Are you still backing Lucio for this one?
I back Lucio, but the fact that you guys have said Ricardo Carvalho, I wanted Carvalho, but Lucio was going to be my battle for him. I just think on the left side of that centre-back pair, I don't think you can go any further than the guy Luke just mentioned.
John Terry.
Yeah.
So Matthew, you're happy putting a racist at centre-back, yeah? I've got him, ladies and gentlemen. I've got him. His old camera. I've got him. Again.
Listen. Why have you done this? No,
you set yourself up yourself again. Learn your lesson from last time, Matthew. Come on. I gave you every other centre-back to choose from, and I'll pick John Terry. It's fine.
No, on a serious note, forgetting all that, I feel like, let me just try and forget what he's done off the field. But I think
Can you though?
Oh, Lucio. Nah, do you know what? If we're gonna do that with him, it'll be Lucio and Carvalho for me, like straight up. I think Ramos was great. I don't know how many years Ramos had under Mourinho.
He had 3 seasons.
He had 3 seasons.
3 seasons with him, yeah.
And the thing with Ramos as well, again, he wasn't. People looked at his disciplinary record instead of what he actually did on the pitch. I remember there was some comparisons between what him and Puyol would do, and for me, I think it was levels above Puyol. I think Ramos was absolutely fantastic. He not only was he good at defending, he could score pivotal goals. Or sometimes they have them games, he gets the game by the scruff of the neck and just gets involved. Was he the centre back scored the most penalties or something like that as well? Because I'm sure he took a few penalties as well.
He was also the centre back that missed that penalty against Bayern Munich in 2012.
Ramos under Mourinho wasn't as successful as Ramos under Ancelotti.
This is why I didn't really want to put him in. So, but if anything,
this is where Pepe was more of a successful centre back, because Ramos would sometimes go right back, and then you had Varane and Pepe at centre back as well.
Yeah. Which is why I think if that's the case, you've got to go Lucio, because we're talking about what they did under Mourinho. Lucio in that Inter Milan team under Mourinho was absolutely unbelievable.
Is that your final choice, Lucio?
Yeah. I'd be happy with Lucio, yeah.
Go on then. Ricardo Carvalho and Lucio for our centre backs as well, which is good. Left back for me, it's the easiest one for all of us. It should be the easiest one for all of us. I don't want to jinx it, but Ashley Cole, Marcelo, fantastic. You've had Luke Shaw, you've had Cohen Trout, Reguilon. You can have Christian Chivu. You can all of these players. But Ashley Cole under Jose Mourinho.
No. Again, how long did he have under? I don't think he had much, did he?
It's because he signed him in that season, and he was there for 1 season, and then that 1 season he signed him after trading William Gallas. He didn't win the league, so
For me, I've gone William Gallas.
Yeah, so have I.
That's good. I'll happily take William Gallas.
I think
Nuno Valente is a good shout out as well, the left back for Porto.
Valente, big shout out. Nuno Valente, massive. I feel like with Gallas, what it was it Del Horno got injured? Was it?
Yes.
Yeah, and then
Wayne Bridge was the backup as well.
And he put him in, and that just and I remember thinking, how's this right-footed guy going to work at left back? But Chelsea just made it work somehow, and that defense was just solid with it. He was fantastic. Was he in that position when he scored that goal against Spurs. He was, wasn't he? When he cut.
He came in and then just absolutely walloped it, and then just
What a hit as well. What a hit. I don't like the guy for how he cried at my club, but for Chelsea
Against
and
Birmingham, just on the other side of the pitch, number 10
but
on the
for
back.
Chelsea and Mourinho, fantastic left back. I don't think there's Contral's a special mention. I think people forgot about him, but yeah, Gallas for me.
Yeah, because at the time at Real Madrid as well, Coentrao was ahead of Marcelo. So Marcelo played a lot of games for Real Madrid, but he wasn't the focal point, the main left back that he tended to be when Jose Mourinho left as well. So left back, I'm very proud to back the both of you and go for William Gallas. Because again, can't really not argue with him. And before we move on to the next player, Luke, tell me more about how William Gallas kind of shone in this team of very selfless superstars for you.
I think he was just described as Mourinho's one of his like most important players. I think it's that trust, which I think for any player under Mourinho, you had to sort of almost gain that trust. Chelsea had some almost unknown players in that era as well. You talk about Jeremy at right back, who was consistent enough to play well. Gallas was one of those ways, obviously, as Matt's mentioned, a right-footed left back. So he's almost sort of created that modern day role now for like players to do that. And I think with how Chelsea played as well, I think it suited us quite nicely. He's able to sort of cut in on the right, and obviously he's demonstrated a few times. Come up with quite important moments. That goal against Tottenham was one obviously the most clear one that I can remember in my time. Obviously, as he left Chelsea and went to Arsenal, he brought that emotional side of him, which maybe we didn't see much at Chelsea. But yeah, I think just sort of to summarise, trust. He sort of worked really well in that system, had a good relationship with the back five, and sort of produced the results and numbers that create a very successful tenure for Mourinho.
Absolutely. So. Yeah, William Gallas, a very underappreciated defender in Premier League history as well for what he's achieved in the game and the fact that he was a solid left back playing out of position, inverted left back at the time, right-footed left back. And I only think Jamie Carragher did that, and Dennis Irwin did it previously for Manchester United as well, which kind of goes to show the talent that William Gallas had. That's a solid back four, the way we're looking at this. What's even more difficult is going into our midfield. So we've got so many attacking midfielders to go through, so many great centre midfielders to go through. But first, we have to start with defensive midfield. And I'm just going to read a few names out just so we get them up and running. Nemanja Matic, Claude Makelele, Sami Khedira, John Obi Mikel, Manish, Costinha, Esteban Cambiasso, Javier Zanetti, and Herrera. Oh, Xabi Alonso. The list is ridiculous. Michael Essien has to make this team for me. I don't know about you, but this is the best I've seen Michael Essien play because after Jose Mourinho, he became a lot more injury prone as well. He ended up moving to Real Madrid and he still didn't get as much game time at the same time. But first impressions is we've got to try and find a way to fit Michael Essien into this team. But that's just my first impression. Would you agree or disagree, Matthew?
There's one guy from Chelsea I think's got to go in there. I wouldn't be Essien for me. There's a guy that he has a role after him already. We named the role. It has to be Claude. And what I find so fascinating about, I feel like Essien had a lot of more robustness about him, get around. Makelele was just always there. You know what I mean? Like Chelsea had that little triangle going on, and you'd get through, you'd break through the first line of midfield, and he's just there. Absolute unbelievable player. As I said, so good they named the role after him. He's got to be the DM in this team. But again, Essien was fantastic. But yeah, Claude Makelele for me.
Would you agree with that, Luke? Makelele centre mid.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I didn't actually have Essien down. Not because I don't think he warrants a place, but I think Makelele just sort of shone a little bit more than he did. A very selfless player in that system. When you think of that team, maybe he's not always the first names on your list, or if you look at the stats or accolades, he only scored one goal for Chelsea, and that was a rebound from a penalty. Yeah, I think that just sort of summarises what that kind of player is. And again, you speak about Gallas and how he played to make the team successful. Makelele's role allowed players to shine a lot brighter. Likes of Lampard, Drogba, some of the sort of numbers they produced, I think, came from what he was doing in sort of that, picking the ball up, recycling it and playing it forward, and just sort of, being the sort of nature that he is. So yeah, I think Makelele has to sort of go in that sort of DM role.
That's fine. I'll agree with the team, and we've got Claude Makelele at centre defensive mid. This is where I've got my player written down, Matthew. So this is the centre mid position where I'm thinking, let's see if you remember how good this player was under Jose Mourinho. It's written down, and I kind of gave you a hint earlier with one of the shirts that have been on display today on the podcast as well. My book's here, so I'll let you guess. If there's a player who was underrated but achieved so much under Jose Mourinho, who do you think it was as a centre midfielder?
So judging by this list, there's a few. You've got your Montari. I think Khedira deserves credit as well. Was linked with Arsenal a few times, but was fantastic with Real Madrid.
Remember, he's not on the list as well. That's how underrated it is. Not on the Google list as well.
The Chelsea player Hamza, you said as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Chelsea player or
Chelsea. First or second stint?
Second stint.
Second stint. Who would that have been? Because I put someone completely different.
I'll guess yours in a second for when your position is. But for this one, this is where I think he'd be perfect. With Makelele next to him, he'll be perfect.
Second stint, Chelsea.
There's people listening. They're like, I know this player.
I know, they're like...
And by the way, Matthew, you know for a fact I'm not his biggest fan, but I can't not respect him for what he's done.
Gosh.
We had a conversation about him recently as well.
List either.
Who do you say, Luke?
You say he's not on the list.
He's not on the Google list that we've got, no. So he's not going to be there. Otherwise, I'll just put Paul Pogba down. Incredible player.
Who the hell would... I'm trying to remember now.
Let's see if you know football.
I'm trying to see. Do I know ball? I know ball, but do I know ball? Are you gonna go with? I don't know if we played under him. I might be wrong. Wait, did he? Oscar?
No, not Oscar. Luke, any ideas?
I'm just having a little look back through, not to sort of ruin it for Matt to try and guess, but I'm just trying to think who.
Ruin it for him. Ruin it for the audience as well. If you know who it is, shout it out.
Oh, is it not? Oh no, you class him as a midfielder? No, it's not him.
Who did you have in mind?
I saw Willian pop up, but I realised he's not a midfielder. Like
not Willian.
Come on, let us know, Hamza. What's that on misery?
Cesc Fabregas.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, off camera.
Cesc Fabregas. Unbelievable second stint. He finally won the Premier League as a main player at Chelsea, and him and Diego Costa had an incredible partnership.
Oh, I hated it.
Unbelievable. Cesc Fabregas just balled out at Chelsea at Stamford Bridge with Matic next to him. And it goes to show the quality of the man, really, because he was never really the main man at Spain. And how could you be when you got Xavi, Iniesta, Xabi Alonso, Sergio Busquets all fighting for the same positions? Fabregas plays a false nine for Spain, but realistically speaking, he was unbelievable in Jose Mourinho's second stint, and a big reason as to why Jose Mourinho won that third title, I should say, for Chelsea Football Club as well. So he may not get the team, but I thought, you know what, we have to mention Cesc Fabregas' impact under Jose Mourinho too, because for me, there is only one player we have to put in the centre midfield position for me, and it's got to be Luke's boy, Frank Lampard.
Yeah.
Luke, take us away. Frank Lampard under Jose Mourinho. Talk to us.
Well, I think I mentioned his name enough on the last episode for Ancelotti, but it's just the same sort of reasons. Because of the players around him. Again, Makelele sort of sitting deeper. Frank Lampard adopted more of a box-to-box role, and some of the numbers that he produced for Chelsea, top goals and assists for numerous years. Chelsea top goal scorer with over 214 goals. I think he scored. It was a sort of a catalyst for Chelsea's success, and always seemed to make things work. Whether that's sort of some set pieces, edge of the box, he was just the guy that you can rely on to sort of get you out of trouble, which he did on a variety of occasions, whether he meant it or didn't mean it. That goal he scored against Barcelona at the Camp Nou, where you think he was going off the pitch, and he sort of turned and swiveled and chipped it back in and scored. That might have been under a different manager, but that's the sort of moments he was able to sort of produce for Chelsea, where other players couldn't really. So, key part of Chelsea's success
Absolutely.
Wow.
Matthew, finish off on Frank Lampard before we move on to our attacking midfielder who will be partnering Lampard and Makelele. So being an England fan as you are as well, he was one of the few players where everyone's like, oh, how do we get the best out of him? And he never really happened from an England perspective. But when you're watching him week in, week out in the Premier League, what did you get from him? Did you get a fearsome response from watching Frank Lampard? Because he was a very attacking player where you think, you know what, maybe this week he doesn't turn up, but he does with an assist. Maybe he doesn't score this penalty, but he does, and he hits it the same way he always does it. And it was just Mr. Reliable, I'd say, for Chelsea with Frank Lampard under Jose Mourinho.
No, definitely. And like you get them players where they're born with certain talent. I feel like with Frank, you kind of know he grafted through his career. Like we saw the whole interview when he was at West Ham and fans were getting on to him and he had to work his way up. And I feel like when he got to Chelsea, I kind of felt at that time that move, I was like, I don't know how it's going to work. But yeah, he was fantastic under Jose Mourinho. And I always get images of certain games of Frank Lampard, Bayern Munich at home. I think the goal when he chested it left foot past, was it Oliver Kahn at the time, I think?
Yes.
The Bolton goal, never forget it, because I remember I was like, please, Chelsea, don't win. And they won it on 1-2-0. And the other one being, what's the last game I'm thinking of now? Was it Barcelona as well? Wasn't on Mourinho, but I'm just saying, like, Frank Lampard as a whole, fantastic player. Wasn't the quickest, but his shooting technique was something that only he could kind of do, if you get what I'm saying. Like, he would hit it a certain way, like it would dip, or, he found a knack of always being in the box. And England haven't really covered ourselves and got that type of player right now. We miss having that type of player. And Frank Lampard was very special what he did. And to score as many goals as he did as well, great player. That leads me on. You just reminded me. I'm going to do a bench. Was it by
start bench
sell with 3 midfielders at a later point? No, now you know where I'm going with that.
Nicely done. Go for it. Start bench sell. Start bench sell. Midfield edition. Jose Mourinho. Let's hear it, Matthew.
So, do you know what? It wasn't even midfield edition. That's striker edition. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to do strikers. Okay. So Didier Drogba. By the way, under Mourinho, how good are Didier Drogba, Melito, and we're gonna. Should I make it hard? CR7. Yeah. Do you know what? I'm going to say CR7. Actually, I'm going to put him in there. CR7, Drogba, Diego Melito.
Drogba, Ronaldo, Melito.
Wait.
Start Drogba, bench Ronaldo, Sal Melito.
You forget what Melito did that season, bro?
Not going to forget, but you can't disregard the building at Real Madrid as well, who they were up against, the quality that they had as well every single season.
Yeah, but
Drogba was the man for Chelsea at scoring big goals and big occasions as well. May not have been the most potent goal scorer in the Mourinho, but he got the job done in a lot of cup finals. He built a lot of success for Chelsea in League Cups, in FA Cups, and he was Mr. Chelsea at the time as well.
And Mr. Wembley.
Mr. Wembley. First goal at the new Wembley in the FA Cup final, he scored against Manchester United as well. Didier Drogba.
And he owned Arsenal. He took us for a walk every time.
Exactly. Luke, how about you? What's your start bench sell for Diego Milito, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Didier Drogba under Jose Mourinho?
I was the same as you.
Yeah. What was yours, Matthew, then?
No, do you know what it is? I feel like I hear what you're saying, but that Melito season for me, I just never think it was absolute fantastic. Under Mourinho was one of my favourite players, as well. Maybe that's what it is for me. I'm taking it personal that you lot just made that sound so easy.
I'm the one wearing the Inter Milan kit here, remember?
I do, yeah. No, I rate it. But no, I am with you on that, yeah. I do agree. But yeah, they're all great in their time, but Drogba number one.
Okay. Now this is where the fun begins for attacking midfielders, because this is where there will be disagreements. Kaká, Mesut Ozil, Oscar, Deco, Wayne Rooney, Paul Pogba, Wesley Sneijder, attacking midfielders. Only one can fit in.
I think this one's easy.
Okay, on 3, all of us say it. So I'll go 1, 2, 3, then say it. So 1, 2, 3, Mesut Ozil. Luke didn't say anything.
I did. Ozil.
That's fine.
I love it.
Whew. It was never going to be Wesley Sneijder. Everyone wants to gas up Wesley Sneijder, but Mesut Ozil, 157 appearances under Jose Mourinho, 27 goals, 81 assists, 3 seasons under the special one. And that's where we saw Mesut Ozil shine the most for me, because he's playing in such a top team. Angel Di Maria one side, Ronaldo as a striker, and Jose Callejon as a winger, Karim Benzema Higuain, and he created so many chances. And that counter-attacking team, like I mentioned earlier about Real Madrid under Jose Mourinho, were incredible. They were shining every single week. And that's when, for me, El Clasico was at the peak of its powers. Mourinho versus Pep. You had Iniesta versus Ozil. You had Ronaldo versus Messi. Ramos versus Puyol. Incredible, incredible atmosphere, incredible drama. And for me, Mesut Ozil created so many great chances, and he was a Real Madrid cult hero. He doesn't go down as a legend, but he's a cult hero nevertheless as well. And Matthew, you got to watch Mesut Ozil at your club for Arsenal, but what did you notice from the main differences from Mesut Ozil at Real Madrid to Mesut Ozil at Arsenal?
I don't think he had the quality around him. I
Yes,
feel like, then
that's for damn sure.
Headband Ozil at Real Madrid was different gravy. You know what I mean? Just absolutely amazing. But yeah, I think Arsenal didn't have the quality around him. I think, what was it? What season was it? In January, he needed 3 more assists to break the all-time Premier League assist record. And
Thanks, Giroud.
I don't know how many times he set up Giroud. I think someone said it was like 20 or 30 sometimes. Giroud scored twice in that time. But yeah, it could have easily broken it. But and you could see that though. When he first come, I think first game he played away, yellow kit, Sunderland away. And he assisted Giroud. And you could see the talent from then. But I just don't think we surrounded him what he needed. I think at Real Madrid, the talent was world class. And I think Ronaldo said it best when Mesut left. He said the thing with Mesut was you just make the run and the ball would come to you. You know what I mean? And those are the special talent. You know, it's sad that his career went out as it did, but one of my favourite players for sure.
Absolutely. And Luke, let me hear your thoughts on Mesut Ozil being one of the most creative midfielders we've seen in modern football. And now you've got someone like Arda Güler from Turkey who's looking to play very similar in the way that Mesut Ozil did. But we're in an era now when the number 10 has kind of died out and now you've got 2 number 8. So tactically, it's not really the same now, is it, Luke?
No, as you mentioned, sort of, yeah, I think teams are sort of evolving and sort of trying to adopt different ways. You know, they're bringing in, you know, fullbacks to come into midfield. You know, it's not as sort of straight as it was last time in previous years, where you know the formation was the formation and nothing sort of changed or adapted from that. Now you know you got players coming in from wingers, cutting inside and occupying those spaces. You know, strikers dropping a lot more deeper. Mr. Harry Kane was sort of that as you know the Euros. So yeah, it's almost become like a bit of a dying art really in that respect. But yeah, Ozil was a phenomenal player even at Arsenal. Who's always one of those players you worried when he was on the ball because it always makes something happen. And yeah, his stats I think when he was at Madrid, I think he was quite young as well, wasn't he? Almost quite unknown compared to the superstars that were there as well. So
he had a great World Cup with Germany getting to the quarters or semi-finals in 2010 in South Africa, and then they bought him for like 13 million pounds as well that same summer. So it goes to show that Real Madrid, they didn't overspend on Mesut Ozil at the time, and they got a really good player for the money that they had as well. For Jose Mourinho coming in from his into his first season after leaving Inter Milan that summer as well. So Ozil and Mourinho joined Real Madrid at the same summer, which is incredible to see. This is going to be very difficult now. We're in our front three, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, man.
Big sigh there from Matthew. We may have to rock the boat a bit. We may have to rock the boat because we've got 3 strikers. Initially, my front 3 is Samuel Eto'o on the right because he only played on the right under Jose Mourinho. Didier Drogba in the middle, number 9 striker. And then Cristiano Ronaldo on the left. But how do we leave out Milita? How do we leave out Diego Costa, Karim Benzema, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Eden Hazard, Harry Kane, Heung-min Son, Angel Di Maria, Anthony Martial? This is very, very difficult, nevertheless. So we're going to have to figure out the best way of going about it. So, right winger, where we go in Matthew? What are we thinking?
Oh, this is so tough. Okay. I was thinking, because I think
Jesse Lingard, Lucas Moura, Willian, of course.
No, do you know what it is? I'm thinking about Eto'o in that Inter Milan side, as you said, in terms of he did a job for Mourinho. Like he didn't get to play his normal position, should we say, up top, but the job he put in, like I can't remember who they played. I remember the way he was tracking back. I was like, what? And that's what Mourinho would do. He would get players to do something different, but they would buy into whatever he asked. And I like that. But at the same time, you've got Eden Hazard as well. Oh my god.
Second stint Chelsea, incredible. Arjen
For me,
Robben,
I'm going
first
Eden.
stint Chelsea.
I'm going Eden. I think Eden Hazard's got to go in. That's just my opinion. I think
Eden,
the guy.
we're talking right winger. We're talking right winger first.
Oh, right. But then who else? Who do you put? Robin. But Robin.
Robben was great. He was just injury prone in his first season.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Oh. I saw a stat for Robin actually. He said like 14 games in one of his first season, like 9 goals and 11 assists, all other way around. But but
he turned up. He turned up for Jose Mourinho, nevertheless.
No, he did. Oh, this is so difficult, you know.
We could put Jeremy right mid. Never know. We could make it a bit difficult. Like I said, Lingard is available. Turned up for Jose Mourinho. He did.
That's such a wind up.
Lucas Moura, Eric Lamela. We're not
how am I thinking? I'm thinking about Eto'o and all these other ones. Attracted Lamela, Lucas Moura. You're taking the mic.
Adriano was there once upon a time. Mohamed Salah at Chelsea. Remember Gareth Bale at Spurs in that loan season. Been there and has done that. A lot of quality players around.
I hear you with the Eto'o shout. I may just go with that, only because I can't really think of anyone else for that right moment. But I'm going to go with that. Luke might sway me, whoever he says.
Hazard, 125 appearances under Mourinho, 35 goals and 30 assists. Part of the Chelsea team who won the Premier League in 2014-15. Partnerships with Fabregas. If we're putting Drogba through the middle, someone needs to feed that ball into him.
And then I think Hamza was saying on the right-hand side, isn't it?
It's on the right-hand side.
Don't worry about it. He can play there. He's got that green circle in the Football Manager. He's fine.
Play all across the front three, which is great. I don't know, because if we're talking about Samuel Eto'o, that's an ultimate sacrifice. Because remember, he was swapped for Zlatan Ibrahimovic that summer before for 45 million euros and Samuel Eto'o. So Zlatan, Messi, Pedro, David Villa up front for Barcelona. And Eto'o was then having to leave his club that he won the Champions League with a season before, winning 2-0 against Manchester United in Rome. And for Eto'o then to play right wing for Jose Mourinho when Diego Milito, who, for no disrespect, was nowhere near as good as Samuel Eto'o as a striker. Jose Mourinho was like, nah, Pandev on the left, Eto'o on the right, Milito in the middle. For me, I can't leave out Samuel Eto'o. He has to be in this team for me, for what he's done. And the fact that Jose Mourinho is a big advocate for basically getting the best out of players, like we said earlier, who are coming to the end of their career. He got the most out of Samuel Eto'o, and we would never see Samuel Eto'o tracking back, even when he moved to Chelsea, when he moved to Everton, Anzi Bakhalakhala, the Russian club that he played for as well. I may mispronounce that incorrectly, but I apologize. But Anzi he played for. That's the way I'm thinking about it as well. So for me, I'd go for Samuel Eto'o. Luke is going for Eden Hazard on the right wing. Matthew, the choice is yours. Remember, one of them played right wing. That's what I'm saying.
But Luke made a valid point. Wait, I'm trying to think. Can you give me a game where Hazard played right wing? Was there one at least?
No, there wasn't. There wasn't.
It wasn't on Mourinho, but do you remember the game against Liverpool, League Cup?
When he cut in and out and smashed it in the...
He came on as a sub in that game.
Was he on the
do you know what? In that sense, because Eto'o's played there, I hear what Luke's saying, but we'll go Eto'o.
I'll give you another point there as well, Matt. Against your lovely Arsenal team. You know when he bullied Coquelin?
He started on the left that game, and he came inside on a counter-attack.
Luke, don't remind me. The way Coquelin got spun, and he just put it under Peter Cech. Yeah, I hated that.
You had the fake Gabriel at the time as well. Gabriel Paulista in your defense.
Oh, yeah, gosh, yeah. All right, do you know what? Because of what Luke said, he's trying to stick on. I'm going to go Eto'o definitely now. No Hazard.
If you took it as a disclaimer that I wanted Hazard in there, it's fine.
Yeah. I think we're going Eto'o.
No, but it's just the fact we've got Angel Di Maria, who never got a mention, mostly because I don't like him, and I'm glad we didn't speak about him as well. But with Cristiano Ronaldo, he did play some games for Jose Mourinho as a striker. So now we've got to fit 3 into 2. Cristiano Ronaldo, Didier Drogba, and Eden Hazard. Because, we could put Harry Kane and Heung-min Son in there, but they're nowhere near it, in my opinion, as well. Higuain played pretty well. But Cristiano Ronaldo under Jose Mourinho is a very, very underrated link-up that happened. The greatest Portuguese manager of all time and the greatest Portuguese footballer of all time played together. Cristiano Ronaldo played 164 games under Jose Mourinho, scoring 168 goals and 49 assists in 3 seasons which is incredible, is a special one and the special footballer as well, which is insane. But Didier Drogba, as we all know, was the reason why Chelsea continued to win 1-0, 1-0, 2-1, 1-0 all across the mid 2000s, because Drogba was the one who would build up so much in the play. He would slow the game down when he needed to. He would chase lost causes, and he was someone who broke so many different teams' hearts as well. Arsenal, you mentioned, me in the FA Cup final in 2007 for Jose Mourinho winning the FA Cup. It's incredible. We're not even mentioned Zlatan Ibrahimovic yet as well. But Luke, talk to me. Talk to me about Didier Drogba and what he meant to you as a Chelsea fan and what he really made an impact at Chelsea Football Club in that first stint that he had as well.
I mean, I think you just sort of underpin that one word, impact. You know, he provided that for Chelsea. You know, he's again came off a sort of a good season at Marseille. Got a very cut price deal of I think 24.5 million. I think it was, and then had quite a good partnership with both Kesman and Ardiger Johnson as well.
And Adrian Mutu before he got his drugs ban.
Yeah.
Less we said about the better.
Popped up some really important goals, some really good goals. You know, one for me that sticks out was that goal at Everton where he chested it on the half volley over. You know, I think it was Tim Howard probably at that point.
Might have been Tim Howard, yeah.
Yeah, just sort of everlasting memories. I think for any Chelsea fan.
My favourite goal for Didier Drogba was the goal against Liverpool at Stamford Bridge. Incredible.
Half on in the left. Yeah.
Just like how Matthew so eloquently did it on his camera. It's just like, yeah, got to drop the shoulder. World class.
That used to be my favourite, but the one that took over it was the one against Everton.
Yes. Goodison Park, the knee slide. What a moment it was for a Chelsea fan.
Against Arsenal at the Emirates as well. That was a good one.
No, I don't remember that one, man. I don't remember that one.
He did the Cole Palmer celebration before Cole Palmer did as well. The heritage is there with Didier Drogba. Unbelievable. But yeah, Matthew, why don't you make your case for Diego Milito? Let's hear it.
Listen, that season alone. Did I put? I think I wrote something on him. Let me pull it up. Let me pull it up because I weren't happy with you for what you're trying to say about my guy. Where is it gone?
Remember, it's just business. It's just business. I appreciate Diego Milito for what he's
done.
Oh,
imagine after all that, guys, I had Hazard, Ronaldo, and Drogba. Did you put
WikiLeaks.
No, on a serious note, yeah, I'll be honest. Like, I think that was the first time I kind of took notice of him. I know a lot of people were following him season in, season out, but that season, I think he got the double in the final. I think, was it 34 goals, 33, something like that. He scored that season, and a great finisher. And I remember back then, I was, as an Arsenal fan, I was begging for any striker. I was like, yeah, Higuain, give me Milito, give me whoever it might be. But yeah, he was, absolutely amazing. Obviously, Etienne on the right with him. Clinical finisher. I don't think after that he really had the best of seasons, but as I said, with Mourinho, players bought into what he wanted, and he could drive you to have the best season ever, and the Knicks wouldn't be the best, but he was a great manager, and he got that out of Milito. But I wouldn't say Milito over Drogba, but I was just saying special mention because
absolutely, because again, we would never see someone like Diego Milito starting in these big games for Argentina. We wouldn't see him playing that much for Inter Milan, and then when you see the drop off from Jose Mourinho at Inter Milan to Rafa Benitez Inter Milan, we only saw a glimmer of it against Tottenham when they were winning like 3 or 4-0 at half time in that San Siro game where Gareth Bale scored a hat-trick afterwards as well. So it kind of goes to show that there's actually so much to appreciate from Diego Milito for what he did at Inter Milan as well. And obviously those 2 goals in the Champions League final against Bayern Munich, it's going to be unforgettable for any Inter Milan fan. And when I got to go over to Milan and get to speak to the fans as well, they adore him. They appreciate him for what he did for that team as well. So it kind of goes to show it was a very, very inspiring moment for Diego Milito when he was the main man. He was the king of Milan in that fantastic Champions League final at the Santiago Bernabeu against Bayern Munich. But yeah, I think this is going to have to be, for me, like I said, Drogba's got to go middle for me and Ronaldo's got to go left for me. But
yeah, I think that's sort of nailed on.
I agree with that.
We can talk about Didier Drogba, we can talk about Cristiano Ronaldo all day, any day of the week. But the fact of the matter is, there hasn't really been a bad stint of a player where I think, you know what, he didn't do that great under Mourinho. Zlatan, he did it at Manchester United as well, top scorer. He probably should have scored more because Paul Pogba created so many chances for him, but he just wasn't his prime self, which wasn't Zlatan's fault because he came on a free transfer. Adriano as well. Played a season or two
Ooh.
under Jose Mourinho, but he never really started. And then that's kind of when he fell out of love with the game, of course, at the same time. We can't not mention his Roma days as well, winning the Europa Conference League, which was their first major trophy since 2001, since they won the Serie A as well. So talking about someone like Tammy Abraham, Paulo Dybala, Bove. We're not going to put them in the team, of course, but they are honourable mentions to mention how top talented that run was getting to the
Sorry,
final.
guys. Quick question, both of you. So what? There's only one team that he didn't win a trophy with in his first year.
I wonder what team that is. What team is it?
As in, is that it's a fact? He did it because when I was going through the research, I was like, oh my god,
So he won the Champions League and UEFA Cup with Porto. He won the league and multiple domestic cups with Chelsea on his first stint. He won the Copa del Rey with Real Madrid. He won the treble with Inter Milan, other way around, of course. He won the Europa League and League Cup with Manchester United. He won a UEFA Conference League with Roma. And he had a stint at Spurs. And Luke, why don't you remind the audience of what happened when he was actually in a cup final against Pep Guardiola's Man City? What happened with Jose Mourinho in that cup final?
That was when he got sacked the week before.
He got sacked. Daniel Levy was like, you know what? Let's get rid of Jose Mourinho before a cup final because of talk of a Super League. And he was like, okay, cool. It is what it is. Spurs will forever be Spursy. And is very happy to say that because you're looking at the quality of trophies as one. So let's go through the trophies before we go back to our team as well. So two-time Champions League winner with Porto and Inter Milan respectively. He's won the Premier League 3 times with Chelsea. He's won the Italian Scudetto twice with Inter Milan, season after season. He won La Liga in 2012 with Real Madrid. He won the UEFA Cup with Porto, the Europa League with Manchester United, the Conference League with Roma, the FA Cup with Chelsea, the Spanish Cup Winners' Cup with Real Madrid, and the Italian Cup Winners' Cup. And he won 4 League Cup titles, 3 with Chelsea and 1 with Manchester United, respectively, as well. And obviously 2-time Portuguese champion with Porto. So it kind of goes to show Jose Mourinho was the real deal. And the players that he's played with were the real deal. And they got so much out of themselves. They got their fullest potential. And it kind of goes to show when is that Fenerbahce of the season as well. We're going to see maybe another gear to Eden Hazard, or maybe we're going to see, not Eden Hazard, Eden Dzeko, sorry. Unless Eden Hazard wants to come out of retirement and play for Fenerbahce. Have to wait and see, which would be good. But just to round off our team for Jose Mourinho's greatest 11, which I know will have some disagreements. In the goal, Petr Cech, back 4. Maicon right back, Ricardo Carvalho centre back, Lucio centre back, and William Gallas left back, with a midfield 3 of Claude Makelele, Frank Lampard, and Mesut Ozil, with an attacking trio of Samuel Eto'o, Didier Drogba, and Cristiano Ronaldo. Oof.
No one's better in that, you know. I don't care the comments, whatever. No one's better in that 11. That 11 is solid.
The only debate I can probably think of, if you want to be specific, is probably putting Marcelo over Gallas and maybe putting John Terry over Carvalho. But I'm not going to disrespect Ricardo Carvalho. He deserves it. He won the Champions League with Porto, being the main centre-back, Ricardo Carvalho. Top baller, nevertheless. Luke, what's your thoughts on that 11?
Only one would be probably Hazard in for Eto'o, but the rest of it's fine, I think.
That's true. It would have been cool if we had like if we had like Eden Hazard left, Di Maria right, and then Ronaldo in the middle. That solid front 3 would have been incredible. Free-flowing too, which is absolutely fantastic. And that concludes our Jose Mourinho Greatest 11 podcast as well. But I need to do another start bench sell because we need to have one that actually brings a bit of debate to it as well, which would be fun.
Quick question before you get into yours.
Yeah.
You don't know the ball.
Let's hear it.
Who did Diego Milito's brother play for?
Barcelona.
What other team did he play for before Barcelona?
Gabriel Milito. Did he play for Villarreal?
I'm not sure if it's Villarreal.
Why are you asking questions when you don't know the answer for?
No, I was thinking, I might be wrong. I swear they both played together at Zaragoza.
They might have done, but you just asked for a team. So I'm just there like, okay, I'll name you a team. The centre-back one, right? The centre-back one, right?
Gabriel, yeah.
Yeah, he played at Barcelona. I remember that for sure.
With Zaragoza as well.
Rate me, respect Matt.
You didn't say what specific team. You just said what team.
Ball. Luke, tell him you don't know ball. You don't know ball.
Independiente. That's the other one as well. But Barcelona got right, so I'm not.
No,
I'm
no,
technically wrong.
you get half a point.
Okay, cool. I'll take a half a point any day of the week. Right then, if we're talking about greatest strikers under Jose Mourinho, we have to do a start bench sell for strikers. So I'm going to go for Gonzalo Higuain, Diego Costa, and Diego Milito. Start bench sell, Jose Mourinho strikers edition. Let's hear it. Higuain, Milito, Diego Costa.
I'll go first this one. Start Costa, bench Lito, sell. Who's everyone? Third one.
Higuain.
Yeah.
Higuain. Diego Costa was a monster under Jose Mourinho. Would you agree or disagree with that, Matthew?
Yeah, same. Costa was a beast, man. Absolutely incredible. Gosh. What did they get him from it? Was it Athletic? No, was it Athletic?
Yeah,
No.
Athletic Madrid, which is good.
Beast.
I'm on Foot Manager.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. And the way that Jose Mourinho played with his number 10s as well, Kaká, Ozil, Deco, Wesley Sneijder, incredible talent as well. And one centre midfielder we've not mentioned properly as well, Luka Modric. Remember, he signed Luka Modric from Spurs, and he was voted the worst signing in the La Liga season. And Jose Mourinho was like, wait for Modric to settle in, wait for him to get ready with the Spanish way of playing, and he'll be a superstar. And he won the Ballon d'Or, I think 7 years later or 6 years later, sorry, from when he signed from Real Madrid. So it kind of goes to show it's absolutely incredible. But like Luke said earlier, if you, well, he didn't really say it, but he alluded to it, I would say. If you guys had to describe a player that when you think of Jose Mourinho, you think of the first player you think of when you think of Jose Mourinho, who would it be and why? Instinctively, who would it be? Luke, you go first.
Because I sort of alluded to it already, sort of either Makelele or Gallas, I think, just sort of enabling that trust in someone who's maybe not a superstar, but you'd get the job done if you chucked him in, like quite reliable as well. Same with Milito, as we've already just discussed. He's putting trust in these superstars again. Sorry, not superstars, but putting trust in these unknown players almost with the superstars and sort of blend them in together in that environment. It shows the success he's had over the years in a variety of teams. So, yeah, I think those two Chelsea players, I think, for me.
Absolutely. Nemanja Matic for me, after having him at Roma, Chelsea, and Manchester United as well, which is incredible. But for me, I can't not think of Pepe. For some reason, Pepe just sticks out to me as well. And Esteban Cambiasso and Dejan Stankovic, the workhorses really. That's who Jose Mourinho appreciated in that defensive and midfield setup, just having so many great workhorses that would just do the dirty work for the attacking players to shine. A very old-fashioned notion in coaching, but it's worked so well for him in the past as well. How about you, Matthew?
For me, probably Didier Drogba. I feel like because when he signed him, I think there was some people doubting the signing, and I think he kind of said, you know what, trust
even
me.
Roman Abramovich was doubting him as well.
You know what I mean? So he was like, trust me on this when I was signing him, and I think for Marseille, and he was Mourinho's guy. Mourinho knew when he had him available, he'd always change maybe the wingers and the people in flank and central mid, but Drogba always remained the focal point. So he was a main man for him. So I'll probably say him. One centre back we forgot to mention, who I think was great under him as well, Walter Samuel.
Samuel Materazzi, Ivan Cordoba as well. Top quality centre backs as well. But with Didier Drogba, we also forgot to mention as well, he won the league twice with him. In his first stint at Chelsea, then he left Galatasaray to go back to Chelsea when Mourinho was manager. And you had Costa and Drogba in that same squad as well, which is incredible to think about as well. So, yeah, big shout out to Didier Drogba. And a big shout out to Luke and to Matthew for joining us for episode, I'm not going to call it episode 2, but for part 2 of Manager's Greatest 11s. And you know what? I'm going to suggest another one before our next outro. Before our next outro, I should say. So whilst I think about how I'm going to entertain this ending, Matthew, Luke, thank you very much for your time. But I think we've got to go for a manager who's on the Italian side of things. Is famous for the Italian job, if you know what I mean. Should be good. So he's very, very talented, won multiple trophies. It's not Carlo Ancelotti, but it's another iconic Italian manager that I thought, you know what, we have to talk about him and his stint in England as well, which will be very fun. So I'll let our listeners wait until the next time. But without further ado, everyone, thank you very much for listening. Take care, and we will see you later. Goodbye.
Peace.